sports fans, greetings from Las Vegas. This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. This is Athletics Chat 78. I'm in Vegas. Stuart's in Oxford, England, the intellectual capital of the world. Stuart, greetings, salutations.
Hello, yeah. So how's it going in Vegas? I mean, are you richer than when you arrived?
I am not. I am not. My sister is. My sister who lives up here. I came up to see my great nephew for the first time, Nolan, who's 6 months old and likes to pull on my beard. And apparently the kids think I look like Santa Claus a little bit. So I do have a Santa cap now too, which I'll start wearing December 1 in our athletics chats, just to kind of be in the occasion. But no, I came up for about 10 days and I'm here for a couple more. But it's been nice to get to walk in the desert. And this week it'll be 70 degrees each day and no snow. So kind of happy about that.
It's fine for you if you like 70 degrees. I mean, I just love the low 30s, especially for playing soccer.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I was complimenting you on your jacket there, sir. And
yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, we've got a lot of good. Say it again.
Not so much cool as cold, I think.
Cold, yes. Well, I'll be going back to cold middle of December, going back to Wisconsin for a couple of months until I believe I will start traveling in early February to the Millrose and New Balance Indoor, and then possibly to the Muscat Marathon. But we shall see about that, and then hopefully get to the World Indoors in Belgrade, which would be a lot of fun, and you and I could solve many of the world's problems. We'll have to see what I've got my vaccinations and I've got my booster shots, and I only feel the Bill Gates little chip in my neck every few days. Then I think that, I feel that I'm wealthy, but, I came up here and I spent my daily, $20 in the machines, and it just doesn't go any far because you can't put a penny in, you can't put 5 pennies in, you got to start at, 61 pennies. So it's a whole different world. But we've got some good news to talk about. Our friend Cherry Alexander is back. So tell our dear readers and viewers what that means.
Well, Cherry Alexander is just one of those legends of British athletics who makes events happen. She was I'm not quite sure what the job title was. I was going to say CEO of London 2017, but if she wasn't the CEO, she was the person who made it happen, and the CEO got the credit. And she departed shortly after Joe Coates arrived. Now, Joe Coates said in a briefing that Cherry wanted to leave. The word in the street was somewhat different. But now, the new management, Ian Beattie and Mark Munro, have announced that she is coming back to run the events. And I cannot think of any piece of news which has been greeted with such universal praise and pleasure.
Yeah, no, it was when I saw that note, I've known Cherry for probably a decade, and would always see her after events or zipping around during events. And she was widely respected, a great work ethic. And as you have said, when she left British athletics, we were pretty well crestfallen. Now that she's coming back, it's part of that very, I think, very appreciated but very careful approached by Mr. Beatty and Mr. Monroe to let fans, athletes, coaches, media know that British athletics needed some changes, and there were some good people there, and they're willing to bring good people back, you know. And I think that's a fantastic thing. So, and the next thing is, I was looking over that new Diamond League list, and lo and behold, they're putting it as Birmingham/London. What the hell does that mean for that first
it's going
meet?
to be Birmingham. It's going to be Birmingham. The problem with the London Anniversary Games is that is held at what was the Olympic Stadium 2012. And what do you do with an athletic stadium which holds 60,000 people when really you're only going to have one or two events in a year that can fill it? So our government, which has put money into it, set up an organization called the something legacy, so that the stadium would actually have a future. And a deal was done with West Ham United, the Premier League soccer team, that they would have the ground and play their games there. But for 1 month, effectively the month of July, the stadium would be available for athletics. Unfortunately, this year, those dreadful Americans have decided to hold the World Championship right in the middle of July. So there just isn't a date when it's sensible to have the anniversary games. Otherwise, because if it's going to be in July, it's going to be too close to the World Championship. People won't come. So there will not be an anniversary games this year in 2022. But on the briefing, Beatty and Monroe said that they are committed to going back to London with the anniversary games in 2023 and onwards. I mean, it was always suspected that Joe Coates didn't really think that major events were that important. But, I remember Jake Whiteman saying to me that when he was 18, he got a lane in the anniversary games, 1,500 meters, and he came dead last. But he said it actually did him so much good that people had confidence in him as an 18-year-old to put him in a race for the world's best. And you see, I think that's one of the things that's been missing. And so it's great that we're going to have the Birmingham Diamond League, which, of course, will be in the new Alexander Stadium, which has been revamped for the Commonwealth Games. And I know it'll be a lovely story, but it's not actually the Cherry Alexander Stadium. I think it's a different Alexander.
Oh, darn. Okay, yeah, because that would have been a great story, the Cherry Alexander. I think it isn't like a Prince Alexander or something like that?
Sure. I'm not sure.
Right.
Could well be.
Not Tsar,
Anyway,
not Tsar Alexander, right? Okay.
No. But so that's good. So we're going back to having the Birmingham Diamond League, which the previous management actually dropped for 2020 and 2021. But then bizarrely, having decided they didn't want to have a Birmingham Diamond League, which is going to have to go to Gateshead because the stadium was being done. Lo and behold, when Rabat dropped out, they said, okay, we'll take Rabat. So, Gateshead is fine. It's a small-ish stadium, and that didn't matter this time because the number of spectators were pretty limited on the regulations. But to be going back to Birmingham and with the promise that we're going back to London in 2023, I think is all really good news.
Now, there is no meet in Gateshead this year, and there is no meet in Glasgow, correct?
That there is no so certainly this Gateshead was only being used because Birmingham was out of action because of renovations. There's no indoor Grand Prix in Glasgow because we now only have one. We used to have the two. But there is some kind of meet in Glasgow, but I haven't actually seen the details of it. I know that Laura Muir is running in it. That's really all I know about it. But that is in February, and more information will come out precisely what kind of event it is. But and also, I didn't say that also Ian Beattie, sorry, not Ian Beattie, Mark Munro said that he would like to see a British athlete being able to run in 5 elite events in the UK before going abroad. So that would be 2 Diamond Leagues and presumably one indoor Grand Prix, one outdoor Continental Series level, and one other. So, I mean, to see his commitment and understanding of the value of all these events, again, was very encouraging.
No, I think that's great. What do you think about? So here's my question about the lovely month of May. You've got the night of 10,000 meter PBs, and that's about a week earlier than it's ever been. You also have the Birmingham Meet. Are they within about a week of each other? When's Birmingham scheduled for?
I have not got that in front of me at the moment, I'm afraid.
Okay, I'm gonna have to double check that one. I think that we're let me just, we'll settle that one right now while we're dealing with that.
Right.
But
I'm sure I've got it somewhere.
2022 Diamond League. Yep, got it right there.
Yeah, Birmingham,
And,
the 21st of May. You got it.
wow, I may have to be in the UK for a week because you can't miss the wonderful and incredible night of 10,000 PBs. That is one of my favorite evenings of track and field, and it's where I got to meet Nick Rose, one of my heroes, And I witnessed Nick Rose and the strange thing of Nick Rose and David Bedford having a beer in their hand at the same time. That's that's probably not seen often. So, and that should be a good thing. Well, that's pretty awesome. What do you think about these? It's obviously Ian Beattie and Mark Monroe have taken some time to think about this stuff, or they're actually the fastest responders on things that we have seen in a while. Or was it that darn obvious that British athletics was really going the wrong way?
I think it was obvious to a lot of people that the organization was going the wrong way. And, when I had my first conversation with Joe Coates, which was probably just over a month after she started, I asked her if she thought it was an advantage or a disadvantage that she was not from the sport, and she told me it was definitely an advantage because she could come in and see things that other people didn't see. And there's some truth in that, but equally, people would say that there are an awful lot of things that neither she nor Sarah Symington, not being from the sport, saw and understood. That they failed to see and understood a lot of things. And I mean, I've heard people say that it was really the case that they didn't quite get the sport.
Yeah, there was, you and I have talked about this a couple times before, and it begged a question which I didn't ask at the time. Around the time of Doha, I believe, and then at the Tokyo Olympics, a group of coaches and athletes met with Seb Coe about their sincere concern for the future of British athletics. Did you ever hear anything more about that meeting? Who was there, or any of the comments?
I believe that was in at the Zurich Diamond League, and I was actually staying in the hotel at the time, but I didn't know anything about it until afterwards. An awful lot of people can tell you what happened who weren't actually there themselves. So it's an interesting one. Um, but certainly it was just something that added to the groundswell of concern that the sport was not going in the right direction. And I mean, you see, to come in and reinstate Cherry Alexander is not only the right thing to do, it actually sends out a strong message that we, the new management, disagree with the direction that the previous management had been taking the sport, and we're going to rectify it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good interpretation. The um, the request that I had made of you, about what you'd heard reminds me of the American country singer Jimmy Buffett. He has this great line: "Don't try to describe a Kiss concert if you've never been there." You know, and sometimes we tend to, the results are obvious, and we need to be grateful that there were gatherings and that people took their reputations and their love of this, and put that in the background and put the love of the sport in front of because British athletics, in my mind, is one of the top 3 to 4 federations in the world in terms of in global athletics. And, we've talked about this before. When we write about the top 5 stories of the first half of the 21st century in athletics, there'll obviously be the rise in Chinese technical events. There will be the resurrection of British athletics, which we thought was a cap was coming on it with some of the changes over the last few years. How do you think this puts BBC? Do you think BBC wanted to televise less athletic events? Do you think it was a function of their the huge pressure they're under to bring their costs down? Were they looking at the changing demographics within the British television audience? How do you interpret that situation at this time?
Well, all of the above, I think. But let me give you the end of the story and then come back to the beginning of it. Again, Beattie and Munro said that they want athletics back on the BBC. Mark Munro said, look, like most of you, I grew up watching athletics on the BBC, and I want it back there. And we're going to have a meeting with them to discuss that. But I can only talk to you about the UK. And I grew up watching television on a television set at the time when the program was on, because that was your only option. And soccer was very little of it on television, but all of it was on two terrestrial channels. At the moment, if I want to watch Premier League soccer, some of it is on Sky Sports, some of it is on BT, some of it's on Amazon Prime. People of the younger generation watch it on their phone. They watch it on catch up. They watch it on demand, and so it's a totally different market. And BBC doesn't have any adverts, so therefore their revenue comes just from the government through the license. Because if you want to watch BBC, you have to pay something like that, $200 a year for a license. So Premier League Soccer has just signed an agreement with American TV channels for something like $1 billion a year. And that's the kind of market that TV stations are in, that BBC, without advertising, struggles to compete in. So BBC has got a lot less sport, all sports, than it used to have. Whether I do think, though, that there is scope for British athletics to do a deal with them, and it may be for less money than it used to be, but you have to balance the fact that every household in the UK has access to BBC. The BT, Amazon, Sky are all subscriptions, and not everyone has those. So there isn't, I mean, there was some people would say that cricket, which took a lot of money by going on satellite television, got the money, but they lost the audience. And it is a complex situation. Sky showed the now ill-fated 2018 World Cup event, but they have not really ever shown any interest in athletics. So nobody but BBC really has shown athletics. And I think the British Championship that last year was only on the British Athletics website. So it's not a simple issue, but I think that the new management recognizes not just the commercial value, but the PR value of getting their events back on prime time terrestrial television. And they're going to push for this. So I would have confidence in their ability to do something.
What do you think about the 2022 Diamond League schedule? Any deep thoughts on that as of yet?
No, I mean, I'm too many pieces of paper around my desk. Yeah, Doha, Birmingham. June, we've got Rome, Oslo, Paris, Stockholm. Then nothing in July because of the World Championships. And then in August, we've got Monaco, Lausanne, and Brussels leading into the finals in Zurich. So yeah, I mean it's an incredibly busy year for athletes, and it was interesting that I have talked in the last week to Katie Najot, who no-heighted in the Diamond League final, and to Malika Mahambo, Olympic champion, world champion, who came about fifth from memory in the Diamond League final. And both of them said to me the same thing, is the Diamond League final is a really important event, but it came at the end of an exhausting season. It came sort of 9 months after my first competition, and I just didn't have anything left. I remember Katie saying that, I kept saying to myself, there's a lot of money at stake. But she said my body still wouldn't respond. And Malika Mahambo said to me, with hindsight, I'd probably have shut my season down after the Olympics, rather than trying to battle through it. And I mean, she said to me, I don't regard not winning the Diamond League final as a failure. I think I did as well as my body was capable of, given everything else I'd been through. So you are left with this issue that if an athlete is being asked to peak for the World Championships in July, what are they going to do for the next effectively 2 months before the Diamond League final? Are they going to take a few weeks off and then come back? Are they going to try and keep going? And I mean, if you're British and European or Commonwealth, you've got one other or possibly two other championships, the Commonwealth Games and the European Championship. So I just don't think that athletes can compete at their optimal level at a world indoors in March, at a world outdoor in July, and at a series of Diamond Leagues in May, June, August, and September. There just are an awful lot. I mean, that's not to mention all the all the continentals and so on.
Yeah, no, it's a very busy schedule this year, and when you throw in the World Championships in July, and then the Commonwealth Games. Commonwealth Games are what, the beginning of August?
The athletics is the first week of August. The games start end of July for the multi-sport. But again, you see, if you are a Scottish athlete, say, it's the one opportunity you get to compete as Scotland, because in the Commonwealth Games, it's England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland separately. So you may think, I really want to compete for Scotland. But equally, there's no money for competing in the Commonwealth Games. And if you're just sitting down and thinking, I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got a life to pay for, and I could go to 3 Diamond Leagues in June and another 2 in August, or I could go to the Commonwealth Games. I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer to that decision.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Talk to me about the World Championships in July.
I'm amazed to discover that this is the first time that your great country has ever hosted the World Championships.
Yeah, I find it a little embarrassing. I think that it's indicative of for many years, the lack of communication between the IAAF and USA Track and Field. I think it's better now, obviously. I think, though, that the number one track and field power in the world should be hosting it in a few places. But the truth is, we did a USA Africa meet back in '94, which I attended at Duke University. And Dr. Leroy Walker, who was such a stalwart in the sport and such a character himself. It was held in a stadium that could seat 40,000, and I think we probably got 15,000 a day. But it just we've got to work on things like that, and it's Drake. The Drake Relays in the middle of the country has sold out sleet. I mean, the weather in Des Moines, Iowa in April is similar to Glasgow, Scotland at that time. There is snow, there is ice, there is, I live in Wisconsin a good part of the year, and I've had snow as late as the middle of May, and significant snow in March and April. So it's, but there's facilities, and the stadium at Drake seats, I believe, about 24,000. And surely a Diamond League meet there. They had the Drake Relays has 500,000 in sponsorship. It's one of the 3 top sponsored meets in the U.S., and it has the benefit of the TV USATF TV package too. But no, I think Eugene. I think the meet under Mike Riley and his team will be fabulous. What we hear over here, what is frustrating, there's a new media communications director. There's a new social media director, and we're going to give them time to get caught up. But truly, in the last year, the amount of any type of build-up to start telling the story has been nil. And I'm right now, what we see coming out are thoughtfully written press releases to tell us that World Athletics says, hey, everything's okay. The imprimatur is there, and that, Eugene's going to be great. But the majority of people will not be staying in Eugene. They will be coming in from Portland. And one wonders why our friends at Nike, who are not a sponsor, don't do something at their wonderful facility in Portland like they did for the Olympic trials back in 2012, I believe, to entertain people and to get people pumped up about the event. The Hayward Field is a magnificent facility. It's one of the best I've ever seen. And there's a foundation now set up by the Knights who put $280 million into it to make sure that it's used. And they're trying to do it where it's not just for Nike events, it's for other brands. And I think that's going to be a challenge, but I think they're well-meaning, and I wish them the best with it. But I want this thing to really be fantastic. And the weather should be decent. But I think that people are going to get a little frustrated with finding places to eat, finding places to stay. I've seen Airbnbs I've seen several at $1,000 a night with 4 to 5 bedrooms, but I've also heard of houses being rented at $10,000 a night, and people are going to get it, And right now I'm looking at staying an hour away in Salem and driving in, because driving on country roads is a lot easier than, driving on big city roads. So it's going to be an interesting challenge, but we've got the World Championships, and then we've got the Commonwealth Games, which I'm hoping to attend in Birmingham, one of my favorite cities, the city with more canals than any city but Venice, as you've taught me. And I love to walk along those canals. And killer curry, yes, you can find bad curry anywhere, but in Birmingham, you got to work really hard to find bad curry. And then after that, going to Munich and for the European Championships and perhaps having a German beer, that could be a great way to solve many problems. So it could be a very fun summer. And then add to that 22 or 14 Diamond League meets. And I believe, I don't even know how many Continental Tour events there will be. So I think we're going to have a plethora of track and field. I just hope that the vaccines are all working and that people are actually getting them. We get worried over here because there's states that are just at 50% vaccination, but then I look at the Baltic countries and they're in Russia are at 12.5% because our little friends at the Sputnik news agency are telling people not to get vaccinated. And but we've got the wackos over here too, Stuart. I don't know if it happens in the UK, but it's
not to any great extent, fortunately.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes me feel good. There's some sanity still left in the world,
The one thing that our government has done well, and whether it's the government or the health authorities, is the vaccination program. I think we get everything else wrong, but we've done well with the vaccination.
Now, do you have to get a booster over there?
I haven't.
Oh, you did. Good for you. Yeah, I did mine a few weeks ago. Good for you. That's important.
In fact, at the moment, they're offering boosters to the entire population because of the concern about the new
Omicron thing.
Omicron thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, stay careful, my friend. And
Okay.
Are you getting to play any golf yet or not?
It's a bit cold for golf, but playing soccer 3 times a week.
Good for you. That's fantastic. This has been Athletics Chat 78, my friend. We have survived. We're going into very well into our year 2 with this, and thank you for your patience. And just so everybody knows, the wonderful piece on Brittany Reese on RunBlogRun was written by Stuart. It wasn't written by me. And Martin Bateman did all the photos. I have this thing sometimes. I wake up at 3 a.m. local, and then I write for a couple hours. And where I make my mistakes is in attribution for the article, which I have this little thing that I can just pop in, and then also the photographers. And I normally wake up with a gentle and kind reminder from Stuart on Larry. Would you please recognize Martin Bateman, because he is a dear friend and he does take good care of us, and we want to respect his lovely photos, So Martin, thank you. Stuart, thank you. Michael Deering, our production manager, thank you. Thanks for watching Athletics Chat 78. So long from Las Vegas. Goodbye to Oxford, England, and we will chat next week. Stuart, have a good one.
Okay, thank you.
Well, hello, sports fans. This is the epilogue of Athletics Chat number 78. Oh, this is Larry Eater. I'm in lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. I am in the office of my brother-in-law, Gervais Henrique, who is a French chef. He won the fabled Chien de Rôtisseur award, and the guy can make anything taste good. And I used to come up here for almost a month, a year. I'd be flying across the country, get stuck somewhere, flying to Vegas, get to hang out with my sister Lou, my brother-in-law Gervais, my niece Tess, and this time I'm a great uncle, and so I got to hang out with my great nephew Nolan, who is 6 months old, and another Oakley last name, Henrique tradition, and Eater tradition continues. Another generation of young guys that we can have some fun with. So it'll be interesting. Anyway, Stuart, who is in Oxford, England, and I am in lovely Las Vegas, and by the power of a Zoom meeting, and special thanks to our production manager, Mike Deering, who manages all this and somehow gets us organized. We had a very, very fun athletics chat today. And because there's some good news. Cherry Alexander, one of the nicest people in the sport on either side of the pond. What she was known for, and she's with European Athletics now, but what she's been known for is through her professional career, the managing of well-done track and field meets. All the behind-the-scenes work, she was the heart and soul of London 2017. And she has been around for a long time. I believe she worked with our friends Alan Pascoe, John Richin, and Ian Stewart at Fast Track when they were putting on meetings when British Athletics had some sanity. But now that our friends Ian Beattie and Mark Monroe are back, one of the things they've been doing each week, we're getting announcements, and that Cherry Alexander, a lovely press release, came in, and I posted it at about 3:30 this morning on RunBlogRun. It's how things should be done. When you come in and you take over a program in crisis, you bring in the people who will give the audience, the media, the fans, the coaches, the athletes confidence. And Cherry Alexander is one such person. And meets will be back. They'll have a meet in Birmingham, one of my favorite cities, the city with the second most canals in Europe, I believe, next to Venice. It has wonderful curry. A bunch of my friends live there, so I'm looking forward to seeing some people for both the indoor and the outdoor meetings. But the Birmingham meet will be in May, and it'll be a week after the night of 10,000 PBs. So Doha on the 13th, the meet of 10,000 PBs on the 14th, and the lovely Birmingham Diamond League on the 21st. So hopefully a week in grand old England. That should be a lot of fun. So meets back in the UK is another bit of good news too. And we hope to see BBC broadcasting them. Keep our fingers crossed. Diamond League in 2022. Some good meets. It's going to be busy. There's going to be a new Chinese meet. We don't even know what city. We're just calling it China 2 right now. So stay tuned. The London Anniversary Games will not happen in 2022, and that's because West Ham, the Premier League team, it just doesn't make sense to change things around for one athletic meeting. So you'll see that back hopefully in 2023. We've got the World Champs in Eugene in July, and that should be a lot of fun. If you're going, get your housing now. Please, 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 because it will be an absolute nightmare for that. I think it's going to be a fantastic event. I think if you get your tickets, you are going to have amazing track and field. Mike Riley and his team are just there. I don't think there's many people that are even near the quality of the team that'll be putting this thing on. And there's so much behind the scenes that needs to be done. That the Knights, Phil and his wife, put over $280 million reportedly into the stadium. I was there last year. I enjoyed it immensely, from the little app so I could get my hot dog and my iced tea to the so we could stay safe because of the pandemic, to just the history and the iconography within the stadium and the attention to detail that the design team put into it is magnificent. It will be a wonderful place to host the World Championships. As a media person, my concerns are this. Got to start telling the stories now. Let's talk about athletes. Let's talk about traditions. Let's talk about the countries coming in. Let's educate people about track and field. Let's have some fun with this. That's really, really important. You can't oversell it. And the biggest mistake American management makes about a championship, and I'm warning our friends in LA 2028 right now, LA 1984, some things they did well, some things they did not. Everybody thought they oversold stuff. Yes and no. what was the legacy afterwards? Well, the 1984 organization, LA 1984, continues to do great things in California for sports, and they should always be respected. But what is the legacy going to be of Eugene 2022? What is the legacy going to be of LA 2028? Those are the questions we've got to ask now, and we've got to start telling those stories. We've got to start building up the excitement and the emotion about these great events. We're very fortunate to have them, and it's as I reached, I'm in my 60s now. I went to the 1984 Olympics, which was something that changed my life. It was my first Olympics that I actually got to attend. And it's been a lot of fun going to meets since then. But this summer, we've got the World Championships. We've got the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and I hope to be there at the end of July, early August. And then we've got the European Championships in Munich, which will be held in the Olympic Stadium and should be a lot of fun. And so it's going to be a great summer of track and field. We've got to get between now and there. We've got the Omicron new virus that people are dealing with. So I ask people to be careful, to wear their mask, to wash their hands, to get vaccinated, to get your booster shots. It's not a political thing. And of course, we don't know everything about vaccination, but we've had vaccinations before, and a lot of great people came together. A lot of great minds came together to do this. So take it seriously and understand that there are facts and there are BS. And that's apparently what I went to school for. I don't know what other people did. Got to be careful what you read in social media. And that's always going to be because they're not publishers. I mean, I published magazines for years, and if I would say any of the stuff that these knuckleheads say, I'd be in jail. But somehow they get protected, and I don't understand it. So I digressed, but stay safe, get your vaccinations. Even if you are frustrated about it, you don't want to get anybody you love sick. And it's just, we're going to be dealing with this stuff for a while. So if you want to go to championships, you're going to have masks. You're going to have to show your vaccine cards, all that fun stuff. But we got some cool stuff this summer. And we got the Prefontaine back at the end of May, too, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to writing about that for you guys, too. So anyhow, this was Athletics Chat number 78. And boy, did I get off topic. But thank you again for viewing all of our Athletics Chats. And you can go on RunBlogRun and you can find every one of them. You would have to have a long trip to have to listen to them all. But anyway, get a few. Stuart and I, actually make some sense sometimes, and we are kind of funny. So stay safe. Have a great week. Get your workouts in, your walks, your runs, your throwing events, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Talk to you soon.